So this is what I wrote this morning. I want to share it with you because it's kind of cool about the body, the role of the body. That sooner or later, when you do meditation, you're going to run into the body. You have no choice. You have no choice but to bring the body along with you. And, a lot of people actually don't. A lot of people get stuck in disembodied practices, and that's not so healthy. So this is what I wrote this morning. And then I'm going to turn right to the questions. There's some good ones, really good ones today. So as we progress from the mindfulness revolution into the meditation revolution, so I'm doing a little critique of mindfulness, the whole mindfulness thing, how mindfulness itself is just a pacifier. Mindfulness will not liberate. Mindfulness pacifies. And in fact, if you're not careful, mindfulness can sedate and get you stuck in blissful meditative states of mind that are not so good. So I critique that a little bit. As we progress, sooner or later, we're going to run into the body. If we don't, we may find ourselves having to run into serious therapy. So true. Which often delivers its healing results by teaching us how to stay embodied. Mindfulness does work with the body to some extent, as in the second of the four foundations of mindfulness, mindfulness of body. But it does not explore the depths of our soma and the natural resources contained within. Exploring the wonders of the mind mandates that we also explore the wonders of the body. That's the subtitle of the book, Exploring the Wonders of the Mind. And then a quote from the meditation master Saraha, where he says, quote, "There is no place of pilgrimage as fabulous and as open as this body of mine, no place more worth exploring," end quote. To appreciate the importance of body work on the path, we need to refine our understanding of both body and mind. The influential philosopher René Descartes successfully divorced mind from body with devastating consequences. It's time for a gut check on Cartesian dualism. Meditation works to mend the philosophical fracture that results in the duality of mind and body. Science can also lend a healing or holding hand. So this is why I wanted to share with you, because here's some cool science. We often talk about a gut feeling when we first meet someone, or trusting your gut instinct when faced with difficult decisions. The mind-gut connection, which deals with the entire length of our inner tube. Isn't that a cool image? The inner tube, from one end to the other. From esophagus to anus is more than just a metaphor. The enteric nervous system, E-N-T-E-R-I-C, is often referred to as our body's second brain. Hundreds of millions of neurons connect the brain to the enteric nervous system. A network as complex and abundant as a network of neurons in our spinal column. You have as many neurons in your gut as you have in your spinal column. The brain in your head and the brain in your gut are truly of one mind and in constant communication. And then I quote these two microbiologists and immunologists from Stanford. Quote, two scientists. Is that voice in your head? So now what they're doing is they're talking about what's called the microbiome. All the little goodies. You have more cells associated with bacteria in your body than you do so-called your own cells. This is mind-bending. Is that voice in your head that is asking for a snack coming from your mind, or is it emanating from the insatiable masses in your bowels? Recent evidence indicates that not only is our mind aware of our gut microbes, but these bacteria can influence our perception of the world and alter our behavior. Sure does that whenever I smoke a joint. Actually, I don't do pot. I really don't. But the munchies, actually, I don't do pot. I don't like the buzz from that stuff. It doesn't work for me. Back to them. It is becoming clear that the influence of our microbiome reaches far beyond the gut to affect an aspect of our biology few would have expected or predicted, our mind, end quote. It's a two-way street with signals streaming back and forth from head to gut and gut to head in a bidirectional way. Lest you think that your heart isn't into it, quote unquote, my playful wordplay, and that this traffic between body and brain is just a two-way street, Scientists estimate at least 40,000 neurons called sensory neurites abide in the heart, creating a cardiac neural network. Neurologist Kulreet Chowdhury, I'm reading this book by her, I'm almost done. She's a cool gal. She's a neurologist, MD, trained in the US, now living in India. She wrote this book called Sound Medicine, wonderful play on words. She's a practitioner of Ayurvedic and Siddha medicine. It's a fabulous book because she talks about the healing power of sound using mantra and things like that. I am quite taken with it, almost done. So this is what she says. This cardiac nervous system is comprised of independently operating intracardiac neurons, leading some research to characterize it as the little brain in the heart. End quote. The heart actually sends more signals to the brain than the brain does to the heart, back to her, which has a significant effect on brain functions such as attention, perception, memory, and problem solving. End quote. When heart and head are not in harmony, this actually inhibits higher cognitive functions, limiting our ability to think clearly, remember things, learn, reason, and make effective decisions. By learning to control our hearts, whether through deep breathing or meditation, we can gain mastery over our brains and vice versa. That was her, end quote. This adds scientific backing to what ancient meditation masters discovered thousands of years ago, as embodied in the Sanskrit and Pali word chitta, heart, mind. So let's see, I wanted to skip, there's one other thing here, but let me skip it. Oh yeah, here, so I'm just gonna skip a paragraph. So talking about the gut in the brain, the gut in the heart. So this is what I say, then we'll open it up. But why limit things to just two brains or even three? In her study of the human brain, the neuroscientist Candace Pert discovered that the information processing receptors on nerve cells were present on most, if not all, of the body's 50 trillion cells. This is a really good book. She died not that long ago. Really great lady. A wonderful book, quite influential, called The Molecules of Emotion. She established, this is Candace Pert, she established that the mind is not merely in the head, but is distributed throughout the entire body. And then Bruce Lipton, who I've been reading lately as well, biologist, he's a very brave scholar, researcher, went a step further and showed how the cell membrane, membrane, is best described as a membrane, brain. That's his neologism. Don't just think of one brain sitting on top of a mindless body, or even a second brain in your gut, or a third brain in your heart. Think of a mindful body composed of 50 trillion little brains. In other words, a body absolutely full of mind. So when the Hevajra Tantra, one of the most elevated texts in Buddhism, proclaims that, quote, wisdom abides in the body, end quote, it now has scientific backing. I love this kind of stuff. Anyway, so that's what I wrote just this morning, part of what I wrote.